Okay, so the next step for this project is to get it to run. And to do that, we need to wire it. You already saw a clip of me doing the fueling. That went well. You already saw a clip of me welding up the frame, mounting the motor to it. I made this little junky table arm up here and sat a piece of wood on there. It's pretty easy. Cool thing about that stuff is you don't have to be picky. It just has to be there. So let me walk you through the wiring and show you everything involved. It looks really daunting, I know, but really it's not. And I will clean this wiring up and make another clip of this like after the fact with it all working, but we just had our first bit of success with wiring, so I wanted to show everybody while it's open and while all of this stuff is fresh in my mind. So when you try to do this stuff, you have to keep in mind you have different systems. You have the engine, the transmission, the DDE, which is your ECU. For those who aren't familiar with the BMW world, we call these a DDE. Say DDE. Then you have your shifter. Yeah, sure, you're still going to have your brake pedal and your throttle pedal, but these are the main components that are important to think about at the beginning of this. So this is an intelligent item. It is not just a switch. This has a CAN bus board on it, and this thing takes a couple things. And I'll show you real quick what it takes. So, looking on this plug right here, you have power, ground. That green and red is the wake-up wire, and then you have a LIN bus and a CAN bus. So this twisted pair here, the white and blue, yellow twisted pair, these two, that's your LIN bus, this is your CAN bus. So this is what you would call your powertrain CAN bus, right? Keeping this in mind, you have to understand how CAN bus works, and basically you have a bus wire that's high and a bus wire that's low. Low always connects to low, high always connects to high. There's resistances that matter, I'll tell you about that later, but a bus lets multiple modules talk to each other on the same two wires. So with those red and blue wires being your powertrain wires, you have to pay extra attention to those, and that's your circuit that you're primarily interested in. So ignoring all of this, that's just, it looks like a mess to you, but it's actually quite organized. The red and blue wire pair that's twisted here will connect to the red and blue wire pair that's twisted here and also at the transmission. That lets those three modules communicate with each other to work and do what they need to do. So if you look here, you'll notice I have a red pair, a blue pair. Let me zoom in. I have a red pair, I have a blue pair, and then I have this green pair. This green pair is coming to my ODB2 port from the car, and I simply identified the two wires that were needed, which in this case are pins 14 and 6. So pins 6 and 14, the gray and the blue wires here, are your CAN bus wires to the ODB2 port. Those need to be connected to the powertrain CAN bus. So they come run in and they hook up to the powertrain CAN bus. Two of these wires go to one twisted pair goes to one item, another twisted pair goes to another, and I can't remember exactly, so I'll just show you. So you'll see I'm following this twisted pair, and I'm going to kind of tug on it. Okay, so you can see how that's moving up here. That goes to that plug on the DDE. This other pair here, if I tug on this, runs over here to that blue connector. See that? And you'll notice just at a glance that blue connector actually has two pairs of those same wires. See? Two pairs. And if I trace that other wire that I didn't ever tug on and follow it, it comes out, runs along here, and it goes here. Okay, so that goes to the shifter. So what I'm trying to show you is the CAN bus from here goes to here, runs to this plug. The other pair that comes out of that plug comes out to right here just as a easy access point. And then the pair from this module runs out and connects here also. It shouldn't matter which of these two pairs on this blue connector here you connect to the shifter and which two you connect to the ODB2 port as well as ultimately the DDE. Should not matter. If you were to take your meter, which I already have, and meter red to red, blue to blue, they will be connected. So these two pairs here go to this blue connector and they run through the harness and they go down to the transmission. They communicate on the board and they're connected to each other, and then they run back out. I don't know why they didn't just use one pair of wires. And if I do have problems, I might just swap that around to see if that fixes it. But ultimately, that is your powertrain CAN bus, and that needs to be connected. Other than that, what you're looking at is common grounds, items that need positive, and a wake-up signal. Okay? So your wake-up signal in this is unique, in my experience, to BMW. Okay? So unlike most vehicles where you control a relay that turns the DDE on or your ECU, the ECU actually holds the power to turn that on and off. So this right here is your main relay. It is fed power and ground at all times. At all times, the ECU has access to power and ground. There are 4 wires that come out of the back of that relay right here. See? Try to make it not blurry. So you have red, red, white, red, and white. I know it's other colors too, but you get the idea. This right here is always fed red, or 12 volts. This wire here is the outgoing from the relay when it's turned on to supply this power that's always accessible to this relay off to this fuse block. These other 2 wires, when you cut this out of your car, are going to be disconnected. And if you follow them out, what you'll learn is one wire is still connected, and if you trace it, it comes up, it goes to this plug, it comes out, it goes to this tan wire runs over and hooks up to this plug. This plug, if you were to look at a pinout sheet, and I'll show you how to get this too, you'll notice right here, pin 13. I already know that that's where that wire goes. Pin 13, activation DDE main relay. Boom. Easy, okay? So the only other thing you have to figure out is the other end, this white wire or the red wire, whichever one doesn't go to that tan wire, does it get power or ground? Well, it's going to get power because ECUs trigger things with ground. So you give the relay power for the coil, power in for the power, like what power it's going to send places, and then the power that comes out will be triggered by the relay or by the DDE when it wants to turn this on and off. That is an important fact because if you do not do that and you remove power from this thing against its own will, when it's not ready, it will throw all kinds of things off. You have to let this will go through a power down cycle when you disconnect it, okay? The wake-up system is unique to all items. So every module has a wake-up wire. The wake-up wire on these is red and green. So you can see some red and green wires right there. Anywhere you see red and green, it's a wake-up wire. Look, red and green, wake-up wire. You can come over to the DDE here, and you'll find red and green coming out somewhere. Look, here's another one. Red and green, right there. That goes down to the transmission, okay? So what that is that is your accessory power wire. So when you put your key in the ignition, you click it over and your whole car powers up, that is what will connect to this wire. This wire wakes up the DDE, the transmission, and the shifter. So the DDE, the transmission, and the shifter are all fed power to, straight from battery or a fuse. Like for this situation, it's here. For the transmission, it's pin 13 or 14. I'll show you how I know that. And it is important that all of those modules have their own power at will, and then the wake-up wire wakes things up. So when I take this wake-up wire and I touch it to positive, the DDE will go, oh, it's time to wake up. and it will trigger this relay to turn on, which sends power to everything else that it needs to send power to, okay? That is, in essence, how this system works, and those are the key factors for you to focus on. I will probably publish an open source wiring schematic for this down the road. I'm not really interested in doing this right now because obviously I'm still making sure that this all works. I don't have it running yet, but I am doing the wiring, so I wanted to show you guys how this works, and that's what a lot of people are going to come to me with questions for, which is why this is basically going to be its own video. So all you do, really, I know it looks like a lot, but it's not. And let me just break this down simply for you. This engine has these little harnesses that run over to this. All of this stuff sits inside of that box right there in your engine bay, okay? You're going to find that all these wires go one of three places. To the DDE, to the plug, actually one of two places, the DDE or the plug, okay? The DDE has two plugs. This plug, if you follow it, see how that just goes straight to the motor? You're literally disconnecting this plug and setting it aside. This plug right here is what goes to everything else. It goes to the transmission. It goes to God knows where else. And what I mean by that is it goes literally to the chassis. And there's actually not very many wires that just go to the chassis, so it's kind of surprising. So like here you'll see I have taped off no need, right? I did this last, believe it or not. Here over here, I have a couple randoms, right? So this one is fan trigger, this one is OBD speed, and this one is fan cut. You don't have to have those, but I'm saving them because I might use this DDE to trigger my fans in the chassis it's going to, so I'll set those aside. This was power to the transmission. That's junk. I can cut that off. Your grounds, really easy. I mean, super, super easy. You find your pinout. You go through your pinout, and you find all your grounds. Look, right here. Ground, positive, ground, positive, ground, positive. And you put them where they need to go. Very simple. I get that like this is a showstopper for a lot of people, but it really is very simple. You send this off, you get it tuned, or you flash it like I do from someone that sends you a tune. In this instance, I'm working with Yeti Tuned again. He's awesome. And then you do your wiring, and then you fire it up, okay? So these wires right here in these two groups go to the ODB2, the gas pedal, and the shifter. They are also, right here, I just have this twisted on there temporarily, my crank wire for the starter, and then my wake-up wire for the DDE. And let me just show you real quick. I'm going to wake the whole system up. Listen. Did you hear that click? That's the relay turning on. I'm gonna remove this, and after like 15 or so seconds, we will hear this click back off. You can hear things humming. Wait for it. Wait for it. Should be 30 seconds. There it goes. It just clicked back off. Okay? So that is the DDE turning everything on and off, right? So once you get all these figured out, the next thing you're going to have to do is to confirm that everything's working, which is where I'm at right now. So after hooking the ODB2 port up, it's literally just ground, power, CAN, just these four wires right here. You're going to hook it up to a KD CAN cable, K plus D CAN, and then you're going to get yourself a USB to C adapter so you can connect it to your phone. And next I'll do a screen recording to show you what I do in the app to connect to this thing. They don't specify in pinouts what is high and what is low on CAN bus. See what I mean? So you'll have to connect them up and then flip them because we don't know which color is which. It's a different color system from the powertrain CAN bus, right? So I had it backwards first. I didn't get communication. Then I flipped it around. Now I have communication. One last thing that will trip people up that I want to tell you about is CAN bus resistance, okay? If I take my meter here, I wake it up and put it in ohm resistance reading, and then I take my probes and put them across the wires, you'll see we get resistance readings. Come on. It's hard to do one-handed. See, so we get 60 right now. Technically, that's not... Whoops. Technically, that is not right. What you do to correct that is you add or remove resistors at the ends of your CAN bus. So each module that communicates over the CAN bus system has what's called a termination resistor across it. And it's a 120 ohm resistor literally connected from CAN bus high to CAN bus low. I honestly don't know why that's necessary, but it is on all CAN bus systems, okay? So this module has a termination resistor in it. That module has a termination resistor in it, and this module has a termination resistor in it. You know what else has a termination resistor? The ODB2 port itself. And believe it or not, this cable does too. So if I remove this KD CAN cable from the equation, and then I do the same thing I just did and measure here, see if I can... Boom, 120 ohms, okay? So when you set your system up, you want to do it with your KD CAN cable disconnected. This has an extra termination resistor in it, I think basically because it's supplying power to the CAN system, so it's trying to correct that. So when this is connected and my phone's plugged in, this balances back out to 120 ohms. If your CAN system does not read 120 ohms, you will not have communication between modules, okay? If you're reading 60 ohms, you need to remove a termination resistor. You'll probably be over 120 ohms, and you'll need to add a 120 ohm resistor to lower it back down to 120 ohms. You'll probably be at like 240 or something like that. If you are at 60 ohms, it's probably because you added a termination resistor somewhere, and you need to remove it and lower your system back to 120 ohms. This is measured with power off of the entire system and with your KD CAN cable disconnected. Okay, now I've done my due diligence kind of explaining to you guys how I did this. I'm going to show you how to get your own information so that you don't feel like you need to have your hand held, okay? So with BMW, there's a program called ISTA. This is the dealership program. It is a pain in the butt to get, let me tell you. I hope you have good Wi-Fi because it is hundreds of gigs. It is so big, in fact, I have a 1 terabyte hard drive that holds just this program. So whenever I want to use this program, I go grab my hard drive and connect it back up to my laptop. You can find these on the forum. You can find people who will send you a link. I will not send you a link. This is not technically legal, and I don't have a source for this anymore. The links disappear and pop up, but you can get them on the BMW forums quite easily. There's a whole process behind this. There's proper and improper installation. It really is a pain. I'm sorry. I went through it. We all went through it. And if you want to do this stuff, you're just going to have to suffer through it, okay? Once you get this program downloaded, without even connecting this to the car, it's a very useful tool, okay? So what you'll do, once you connect or open this, you're going to click operations, and it's going to go, give me your VIN number. You put the VIN number in, and I'm not going to do that on screen because, A, I don't want you to have my VIN number, and 2, I don't have it memorized off the top of my head. It's on my phone, which I'm recording with. So you'll go to, once you enter the VIN number, it'll load junk and then pop up. You're going to come to vehicle management, right? Come on. And under vehicle management, you'll get this menu down here. So this is basically like you can go to the different systems like this and get information about all of those different systems. To make your life easier, there is a text search option where you can put things in here that you want to find, okay? I've already found everything I needed to find, and I screenshot it so I don't have to do this again. So for example, DDE pinout. You look familiar? I just had that printout over on the other side of the garage, okay? You'll even get colors so that the pinout will tell you, you can compare, okay, I need pin 13. All right, what color is pin 13? Oh, pin 13 is brown. Okay, cool. And it goes to that plug. And then you can search this plug in ISTA, and it will tell you the pinout for that plug and all the information it has for it. Here's another one, shifter pinout. I literally just searched in ISTA, shifter pinout, okay? This will tell you what you need to do. PT CAN bus, PT CAN bus, PT CAN bus, PT CAN bus. Connector terminal 15 wake up. Remember that wake up wire I was talking about? There's your ground, fuse 54. Okay, so this gets power at all times. All right. Now, you have to understand that this is going to reference multiple versions of your vehicle you're looking up. So in this situation, we have drive logic button with twin clutch gearbox. I don't have a DCT. I have an 8 HP transmission. So this is not occupied in my plug. I only have these pins down here occupied. They're just empty. So you can go ahead and ignore this information and just use this. Once you find this stuff, all you have to do is go look at your other pinouts and see where this goes. Ground, easy. Power, easy. Wake up, easy. These four, figured out. And here's what I mean by figured out. If you walk over and look at this plug, you go, oh my gosh, I can't figure it out. Where does it go? Look, CAN bus, CAN bus. There's your two twisted pairs we were talking about earlier. Red and blue, twisted pair. Gee, doesn't that sound familiar? Or here, we'll go even easier. The blue and yellow twisted pair. The only wires that you don't have occupied on here are a couple of these plugs. Do you see any yellow-blue twisted pairs? Look at that. A yellow and blue twisted pair. Imagine. Oh, where does this plug go? Let's follow it. Blue goes in here. Oh, look at that. It goes down to the transmission. And I'm not trying to be ignorant here. I'm just letting you guys know this is really very easy. Follow these wires that I hooked up. Where do they go? To the shifter. That's because all I had to do is come over here and look at this plug. Oh, there's no red and blue twisted pair. Okay. Oh, look, the only red and blue twisted pair in the entire plug that I had to cut from the car. Looks like that's where that's going to go. Very easy. Very, very easy. You just get this stuff connected up. Once you're done, you flip through the extra wires like this. You go, okay, well, where does this wire go? And then you trace it back to the plug. You go, okay, pin 64, whatever. Come over to your pinout. Oh, that's activation fuel filter heating. Okay, I don't need that. 23, fold it to the side, mark it not needed. Super easy. This can apply to any BMW that you want to swap into another vehicle for real. And I'm not done with the struggles here. I just got this thing to communicate over CAN bus or over the ODB2 to my phone. So I am just now getting data out of the DDE and the engine. And I have yet to be able to get it to start. And that's okay. I don't expect it to start the first day. But it is cool that now this is waking up and communicating with me. This is just flashing green currently. Where's my wake up wire? Here it is. So let's go ahead and wake it up. Okay, we're awake. See, we just have a flashing green. That's a communication error. So, I don't know if that's the flash that's on this or if I have it plugged in wrong somehow. It shouldn't be plugged in wrong because I traced all this out and it goes where it should. So I have a feeling the flash on this is incorrect. But yeah, that's how you wire a standalone BMW diesel. And you could probably do this with a gas motor, not that I've messed with one yet. Just for quick reference, I'll show you over here. Ouch. Just slammed my knee into something. Over here, this is the transmission connector. You'll need to occupy all those wires. You can unhook this and meter them out up to the plugs. But it's very easy. It's just two CAN bus pairs like we talked about, a power, a ground, and a wake up. This goes to the transfer case. We're not using that. This goes to O2 sensors. We're not using that. O2 sensors, we're not using that. This wire coming off of this harness is your trigger for your starter, which is very conveniently located somewhere that I can easily change it, which I love. I am ripping on the TDI a little because it's up here. Oh my God, it's a nightmare. So yeah, starter's down here. That's cool. And yeah, that's really it for that harness. It's super simple. When you're trying to get these to run on the stand, the next thing I know that you'll have to do is you have to create back pressure in the fueling system. So you have your supply line and your return line, and you'll see I have a clamp on my return line. And yeah, this is a clamp. And yes, you can use a fuel pressure regulator. I'm not spending $100 on a fuel pressure regulator right now, excuse me. So I literally, while I was watching the information over the ODB2 port, I just kept clamping this tighter and covering more of the hose until I was over 60 PSI, which is usually what's required to allow you to start. So, good luck.